This super advanced stealth jet was flying over Serbia when suddenly a missile struck from nowhere. It's March 27, 1999, and Lieutenant Colonel Dale Zelko is in the air over Serbia. The pilot is manning the incredible F-117, the United States Air Force's so-called stealth fighter. Zelko and his undetectable craft are a crucial part of the NATO-led Operation Allied Force. This series of airstrikes is meant to end the conflict between Kosovo's Serb and ethnic Albanian populations. But then the airman suddenly realizes that ground forces have a missile lock on his jet. That's not meant to happen. The stealth fighter is supposed to be invisible to radar. There's no time to analyze this now, though. The American pilot is locked in a fight for his life, and the missile's coming his way. Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos. The targeting of the F-117 likely caused some initial confusion. After all, everyone from the United States Air Force's plain angular shape and its built-in features was deliberately designed to deflect air radar detection. But as it transpired, Zelko's craft wouldn't be able to zip across Serbian skies unseen that night. That's because Serbian commander Zoltan Dani had come up with an ingenious method to try and pinpoint the untraceable F-117. It was a tactic the Americans had long fought to ensure wouldn't be possible, but it suddenly made the hitherto untouchable target vulnerable, and thus began one of the most unbelievable stories of Operation Allied Force. The F-117 itself is a marvel of creation. The craft, also known as the Nighthawk, started life as a commission for the USAF. The organization was looking to add stealth aircraft to its hangar, but this was no easy task. So it contracted the Lockheed Corporation, now under the umbrella of the Lockheed Martin Corporation, to get the job done. It's important to understand that this was a revolutionary idea at the time. In fact, the F-117 commission was the first of its kind upon delivery in 1982. So what was the USAF looking for? Well, it specifically envisioned an aircraft with the ability to fly without detection on radar. So Lockheed began to design a prototype with this feature at its center. Although it's unclear when Lockheed embarked on the monumental task of designing the F-117, the first record of the military's desire for a stealth aircraft appeared in 1974. This was when the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, better known as DARPA, a branch of the U.S. Department of Defense, described exactly the type of plane that the F-117 would become. For the aircraft to avoid detection, then, it would have to meet a very specific set of criteria. For instance, engineers had to come up with a plane that gave off very little light, infrared or radio energy. These frequencies would otherwise show up on radar and give away the position of the stealth jet. Turning a hypothetical boffin's wish list of attributes into something as tangible as the F-117 was easier said than done, though. The development process even saw multiple Lockheed prototypes crash to the ground. But the firm eventually designed something that worked as envisioned, and in 1982 it delivered the first operational stealth aircraft to the USAF. The completed F-117 had a unique design with each element serving to help the plane fly undetected by radar. First, the stealth aircraft has a triangular shape with wings that whip back from the nose at sharp 67-degree angle. Its flat exterior has an important purpose too. It can deflect radar waves sent its way. The shape of the F-117 is only one of the radar avoiding techniques built into the aircraft. It also has a pair of General Electric turbofan engines which power the jet without afterburners. In other words, the engines fire the aircraft to subsonic speeds without releasing any infrared emissions. And inside the F-117, pilots can see with infrared sensors, digital maps, inertial guidance, and satellite-sent radio signals. These navigational tools replace conventional internal radar systems, preventing the aircraft from appearing on other radar detectors. The designers brushed the outside of the stealth jet with a coating that can deflect detection as well. Finally, the F-117 avoids detection because it doesn't carry any munitions externally. The plane does have a few pieces of weaponry on board, though, such as radar and infrared-seeking missiles and bombs deployed with laser guidance. So all these design features combined to make a craft that was close to invisible as possible at the time. But the jet was secretive in more ways than one. It was, after all, a commission carried out by the Advanced Development Project of Lockheed, which had also been responsible for ultra-secret craft such as the SR-71 Blackbird spy plane. The USAF didn't even acknowledge the existence of the F-117 as part of its arsenal until 1988, 6 years after Lockheed had delivered the first completed aircraft. Within 2 years of their official acknowledgement, though, the USAF had 59 F-117s in its fleet. The jets, which could carry 5,000 pounds and fly at speeds of up to 684 miles per hour, played a large part in the military conflicts of their time, too. In the First Gulf War and the invasion of Panama, for instance, the craft earned a reputation for striking with near-surgical accuracy. In an Air Force press release, one-time F-117 maintainer Yancey Males lauded the plane's uncanny ability to drop guided bombs exactly where they were intended to land. The expert explained, "It was the marriage of the GBU-27 to the F-117 that had a laser designator in its nose and made such a precise, deadly platform." Males also recalled the pivotal role that the F-117's precision had played in the Gulf War conflict, particularly its second stage, which raged from mid-January through February 1991. The maintainer said it was best demonstrated during Operation Desert Storm, when pilots snuck into Iraq and dropped weapons down the elevator shaft of a central communications building. Still, the F-117, like all technology, was eventually phased out of service. The USAF retired the F-117 on April 22, 2008, after the craft had spent a quarter-century flying stealth for the military. Yet not all of the 59 aircraft made its way back home safely. Yes, as previously mentioned, one of the famous radar-deflecting Nighthawks was gunned down in the line of duty. That particular F-117 made up part of the American fleet in Operation Allied Force. This was the 1990 NATO-backed bombings of what was then still the state of Yugoslavia. The conflict arose in the country's autonomous region of Kosovo, where Albanian-speaking Muslims made up the majority of the population. The problem was that the region's ethnic Serbs reportedly felt marginalized and scared living in territory that they regarded as their home. It seems that the situation became even tenser when Serbian socialist Slobodan Milosevic entered the political landscape in the 1980s. In 1987, for instance, he promised Kosovo's Serbian population, following their clashes with the Albanian police, that no one would be able to physically oppress them any further. He later took control over Kosovo and removed Albanian officers from patrol. But Milosevic's actions against Kosovo-based Albanians didn't stop there. Under Milosevic's presidency, the government removed television channels, radio stations, and newspapers in the Albanian language. Many Kosovar Albanians lost their jobs in the public sector too, including in hospitals, banks, and schools. Teachers were barred from entering their classrooms in 1991, leaving their Albanian-speaking students to study from home. All of this pushed the ethnic Albanian population to do something, so they banded together in 1991 to form the Kosovo Liberation Army, also known as the KLA. And in the summer of 1998, this group took deadly action. The KLA assassinated Kosovo-based Serbian police officers and killed civilians. This sparked reaction from the Serbian-led authorities, who burned down houses and rolled through Albanian villages in armored vehicles, pushing people from their homes. Things got worse in January 1999 after the KLA took down 4 more Serbs. That's when government forces encircled the village of Racic and massacred 45 ethnic Albanians, including a child. At this point, then, the international media began to focus upon the growing violence in the region, and NATO did too. NATO even moved without the green light from the United Nations. What did it do? Well, it gave Milosevic the option of allowing peacekeepers and refugees into Kosovo and removing the Serbs, but the Yugoslav leader refused the deal, and NATO forces prepared for Operation Allied Force. Its planes took off on March 24, 1999, with missiles ready to fire on Serbian strongholds. So, on March 27, 1999, it was Dale Zelko's turn to take part of the air raids. He flew the F-117 stealth jet, you'll remember, designed to avoid radar detection, but the pilot had a bad feeling about this particular mission. Weather conditions would prevent the Nighthawk from taking off with its typical escorts. Don't forget to subscribe for more inspirational stories.